Hey everybody, welcome into another edition of Make Every Second Count Live, where we try to help you deal with whatever you are dealing with in order to live your best life. Now, I'm Jeff Marconette Jr., your host and international award-winning Make Every Second Count speaker. I was in a serious car accident when I was 17. I spent 3.5 months in the hospital and 2.5 months in a coma. They told me that I would never walk again, and I'm here now with you guys trying to help you guys live your best life. So I have come up with this show, and I do this show every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And I ask you guys if you would please give us comments, give us thumbs up, give us hearts, give us angry faces, give us sad faces. It doesn't matter. Just give us some kind of reaction because we appreciate that. And we also would like to have a conversation instead of making a presentation. So please ask as many questions as you like. We'd be happy to answer them. And I also ask you if you would please share this video out, invite people to watch this video, because I know this can be powerful. So I want to introduce you tonight to my friend Ann Browning, and she is going to tell you how you are bigger than your beliefs.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Ann.
Here. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Now, if you would like to go ahead and tell them a little bit about you, where you're from, what you do, and why you do what you do, I'm going to share this video out into a few groups and hopefully get some viewers on here tonight.
Okay,
All
perfect.
right.
Great, thanks. I'm Ann Browning, and I live in a small town outside of Sacramento, California, with my husband and a little bitty dog. And we've been here, I think, 8 or 9 years. California wasn't originally home, and I love it. After being here in California, I don't think I would live anywhere else. I am a coach and a speaker and a consultant. My background is in counseling. I've done counseling for addicted populations and their families and some of the side effects of addiction and relapse prevention. And I also began a program called TIERS, T-I-E-R-S, so the different levels of healing through a loss, a grief. So, and that came about. Why do I do what I do? Because I've been through a lot of loss in my life, and I have a woman that I read all the time. I just love her stuff. And she had said one time that out of your mess comes your message. And my mess has been in my life loss. I've had a lot of losses starting when I was about 10 years old. My first dad just left us. He was an alcoholic, and he just left my mom and my 2 sisters and I. And anyway, my mother did get remarried, and my stepdad adopted us. And then my mother died when I was 16. So that was a loss. And then I had a baby that died of crib deaths when I was, I think, 24, 23. And then I kept on kind of running from those different losses like a lot of us do until I turned, probably in my late 30s. My husband at the time left me. And that's when things really caved in on me. And I just thought to myself, I can't go through this. I didn't want to live Luckily, I had children, so I stuck around because my life is so fabulous now. I think, oh my gosh, what would I have done if I hadn't stuck around? So that's why I do what I do, because I really believe that there's always an answer, and that as human beings, we're made of so much bigger stuff that than we ever even know about it. And that we're much more brilliant than we would ever think. So, sorry, get on kind of a soapbox about it, Jeff.
It's fine and dandy. So I would like to touch a little bit on those things that you went through in your life, because I know some of those can be challenging. And on this show, we like to help people and show them that, hey, if we can go through this challenge, then you can too. And I first of all want to say hi to a few people. So, hi to my dad, hi to Brittany, hi to Sarah, hi to Marilyn, hi to Amy, hi to, oh no, I can't read that. Oh, well, I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm not going to attempt your name. Hi to Jessica, and hi to Colleen. And I hope you guys all share this video out, because Anne here is powerful and she is going to teach us how we are bigger than our beliefs. So it's pretty darn cool. So I know I said it previously, but I would like to touch a little bit more on those adversities that you had in your life. Now, you said that your first father left.
Yeah, he left my mom and my two sisters and myself when I was in 5th grade. So I think I was about 10 at the time. So.
And what exactly was that like? I mean, how'd that make you feel?
There was a part of me that I think was a little relieved, because he was the type of alcoholic who raged, and he was scary when he drank. But then there was the other part of me. At that time, divorce was not something that people did. And if they did, and we lived in kind of a small town, and I can remember actually when my mother got remarried and I started school, I guess in 6th grade there after she was remarried, or 7th grade, somebody said, well, what happened to your other father? You have a stepfather. What happened to your other father? And I said, oh, he died. I didn't say that he left us or that we were divorced. So there was a lot of shame around it. There was definitely something must have been lacking in me, and how could I have fixed it? And then
you felt like it was your fault.
Yeah. Or I don't know if I thought it was necessarily my fault as much as I thought I could have done something. What could I have done? I don't know what I could have done when I was 10. So,
yeah. And Jessica here says, it's definitely a situation that brings emotions on all ends of the spectrum, Anne. So I think she can relate. If there's anybody else out there that can relate to Anne here, if you have gone through, you're a child of divorce or child of abuse or anything of that, please put a 1 in the comments. Show people that you have been through it too, and if you can deal with it, then so can they, because this is all about giving hope to other people. And I really want to show people that they only get one life to live. So why not live your best life? You can move on from this stuff. And you're living proof of that, Anne.
oh yeah,
So
yeah.
how exactly did you deal with those emotions and those feelings of kind of like it was your fault at the time?
When I was 10, I didn't deal with it, Jeff. When I was 10, I think I just stayed. I read a lot. That was the good thing, though, that I did learn to read. And out of reading, because I've worked with a lot of people who've had that type of a childhood, but out of reading, I really saw that there was a different way. There were lots of stories, and that there were other things that I could do. And I still love those kind of stories of people who overcome, people, either fiction or nonfiction, that I would read. And so I think that's, when I look back on it, that's probably what got me through. I just read all the time. I could read 3 books in a week, and I didn't have friends. I mean, I pretty much didn't have friends. I isolated, and then I was a huge help to my mother, so I got lots of kudos for being a helper. So yeah, a lot of setup.
That's pretty cool. Now, can you give any suggestions for other people that are dealing with those emotions, or anything else that relates to that situation that helped you? If you have books that they can read or videos that they can watch, that would be beneficial. Go ahead and tell them about it.
I would say that what happens, and you hear people say that, oh, children, they bounce back. Children don't bounce back. What children do is, if you can think of those Russian dolls, that there's like a little bitty doll and a bigger. Well, that little bitty doll that's 10 years old is still in there. And that belief begins to run your life. That belief begins to interfere with some of your goals and some of your dreams. And so it's important that you begin to get into some type of a group or some type of counseling or coaching situation. Get some Melanie Beatty, Bette. She does a lot of books about children and adults, adult children of alcoholics, and the codependency that comes out of those type of family situations. So I would highly recommend that type of thing. But just know that if that happened to you, you don't just jump and leave it. It comes with you. And the universe gives us ultimate times to heal our hurts. Lots of them. So
that's great.
Hurting, there's definitely there's a reason it's time for you to heal. So
yes, that is great advice. Now, you said before that you didn't want to live anymore. Now, I can't remember the exact circumstances that you were in at the time, but
that was really, you would think it would be like after my mom died or after I had a baby die, but I just kept, I don't know, pushing things down and going forward and thinking things will get better. And then things did get really better. I got married and we had children, and then he left. Not like my dad did, because he stuck around and he was a good dad to his kids, but he left me. And I was absolutely, I said to a person one time, I felt like the Tin Woodsman in Wizard of Oz. Like if you were to pound on me, I would have been hollow because I didn't know who I was. So that's when I felt like, I don't want to live anymore. There's nothing to live for, and nothing will ever be good again. I really believed that. And I was ever so wrong. Thank you, God. Yeah, I was wrong. So
now I noticed a few times that you've said thank you to God. Are you a religious person, or do you just have the spiritual side?
I'm very, very spiritual. I was brought up Catholic, and a lot of people didn't like being brought up Catholic. I don't know. I liked it. I liked all the ritual and the tradition and stuff. Catholic Church has got a lot of issues, much like families. But I wouldn't really call myself religious as much as definitely I am spiritual. I have a deep, deep belief that the universe is a good and gentle place, and that continually gives us chances to heal and constantly is asking us to grow and trying to remind us that we're part of stardust. We're made out of stardust. You look up into the sky and we're bigger than that. So we're pretty great. So
Yeah, you are pretty great. And I have to say,
you are, Jeff. Look at all you've done. Seriously. How did you get through it?
well, I got through it one day at a time.
Yep.
I got through it by seeing myself where I wanted to be.
Yep.
And
Exactly.
then breaking that down into steps in order to get there. And I find it, if you put things in steps, it's much easier to do, because they say that, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is break those things down that you want. Say, like, I knew I was going to walk unassisted. Now, I had to learn first to ride in a wheelchair and hold myself up straight. And that was difficult. And then I knew I had to go to walking with a walker. And I got to doing that. But I had to master that in order to get to the cane. And then I had to master that in order to get to nothing at all. And it took me a long time to get to nothing at all. And people nowadays just want things like instantaneously.
Yeah.
And they don't happen like that.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
They take hard work.
Yes.
And people now don't want to work hard. But there's one good thing I can say about me. And I can do hard.
Yeah.
I like things that are difficult. Things that challenge me. That's fun to me. And I think that really helped me.
See, you can't say that too loud about I really like a challenge, because then sometimes the universe will give us challenges that aren't exactly what we want. Like a car accident or a divorce, or I'm just teasing. So
Yes, but it also, those challenges build character.
oh yes.
Those challenges make us stronger and more resilient to future challenges and better able to handle those challenges.
Jeff, could I say something about that? Because I know that is what we read about and people say. And I would also say that when I was going through this divorce, I happened to come across a book about, there's a Chinese symbol. I don't remember what it looks like, but it's crisis. And so when you find yourself at a crisis, one of the things means growth and the other means destruction. And it's really up to us to decide, because I have seen people who have gone through far less than you've gone through, who just give up, who turn to alcohol or drugs, or just, they allow their soul to become just encompassed in concrete, so that you can't even find them anymore. They're so bitter.
Yes.
You got to decide, I am bigger than this. I am bigger than divorce. I am bigger than accident. I am bigger than addiction. I am bigger than the pandemic. I am bigger than this. So, and we really, really are.
Now, what would you suggest? All right, let's say a person is going through a hard time through this whole pandemic, and they're knocked out of work because their job is taking taken away from them, and they're experiencing all kinds of hardships. What would you suggest to those people to move on, to survive the situation they're in?
The first is to decide that you're going to. That's the first thing. Just like you made that decision. It's to decide I am going to move on. Because I know I had to do that. Not at first, boy, I didn't. At first, I just fought it. I called everybody I knew and told them my story. And I felt so victimized and betrayed by my ex-husband and a friend of mine. And then I knew intellectually that I had to forgive, because you just are called to forgive. And I didn't want to. So I started praying instead of, oh, God, help me forgive them. I just was like, help me want to forgive. So I had to make that decision. And it's just like you said, it's one step after another. And also to know that when we go through a change, it's not comfortable. It really isn't, especially if it's not our decision to go through the change. You think about moving, and even if it's a good reason that you're moving, that can be stressful. Or you go to Disneyland, that can be stressful. So even good things can be stressful. But when you have no control over something and it's taken away from you, that's where, like you said, your character, you can dig down deep inside and you can find that there's a part of you that can do this. I just read this morning, it's so wonderful that I'm meeting with you today, and I don't remember who it is that said this. It was like from a long time ago, but that the part of us that notices that we are afraid, or the part of us that notices that we are angry or whatever, is not afraid. Because there's a part of us that observes that, and that part isn't afraid, and that part isn't giving up. That part's going to move us forward and get that vision. Because I think that's the next thing. You said you got a vision of where you wanted to be, and that's what I did. I held on to that light and onto that vision through a really rough time. So
now I would like to find out a little bit more about your loss of a child, because I know that my parents struggled with that when I was in the hospital, and I know all kinds of people that go through that and have had to deal with that, and it's always a fascinating story to me. So what happened, if I may ask?
sure. Rebecca was born. She was perfectly healthy. She had an APGAR, which is a measurement of how healthy they are when they're born. And the highest you can get is 10. And she had like a 9.5. She just was a very aware little baby, healthy, took her to get her shots. Everything was good. And I woke up one morning and I thought, she didn't get up for her 2:00 feeding, and she was dead. It was sudden infant death syndrome. And it was, and I was, 23 or 24 at the time. And my husband at the time, he was the same. We were both very young. And it was, luckily, it was one of those things. Luckily, I was able to get pregnant again, not too far. Not that you replace the baby. You don't. But to lose a child, I mean, my sister had a baby that died. His heart was wrong, and she just couldn't have any more children after that. And so it's just, you go on. You go on. It doesn't get better. I would think you still feel sad. So, yeah, you still, I don't know. I mean, I had a baby, but for somebody who loses, I have a good friend, a lifelong friend, whose son was in a terrible car crash and he died. He didn't go on to live, and he was, I think, 18 at the time. So I'll tell you what she did, though, is that she used that mess to bring her message. She could have turned bitter. She could have turned away from people. She could have just given up. And what she did is she went out and started helping other people who'd also lost a child. So she decided not to give up.
So I think the biggest lesson of this show tonight was you guys have to make a decision.
Yes.
Now, that decision can be good, but that decision can also be bad. And I think that you need to find some guidance when you are making that decision. Find that positivity in your life. Because if you go to the other side and look at the negative and take the negative actions, then that's what you're going to get out.
Yes. Yes.
So remain positive. Know right now that we are telling you that you are bigger than your belief. You are bigger than anything. You can handle anything, because it's been said that there has been nothing that you've gone through that you didn't make it through. And you're still alive.
Yeah.
That means you still have something to do on this earth. And I believe that everybody is put here for a purpose. And you might not know that purpose yet, but hang in there. You'll find it out. But you're going to have to look for it. You're going to have to seek those people out there that are going to help you find that purpose. So I want to take a second here and tell you, Anne, thank you so much for being here tonight.
Oh, thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure to have you, because you were a great guest. And you brought some things up inside me like that I don't normally say. And I find that comforting, because a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people just come on here and they're just to the point. And while you were to the point, you added emotion to your stories. And I find that relieving. So thank you so much, Anne. If you would like to give out any contact information or anything else that you have that you would like the audience to know about, I'll give you the stage.
Well, thank you, because you can reach me at Anne, ANNE, at AnneBrowning.com. Real simple. My first name at AnneBrowning.com. Please email me. I'm very available. And if you've got a question about this happened, how can you possibly decide, and you know that you're not big enough, I will tell you you are. So, and then I have something that we are working on right now, because it kind of goes in with this, that I run a roundtable for women in business once a month. And we are putting on this Saturday, March 13th, celebrating the boldness of women. celebrating the boldness of women. It's a 2-hour, 11 o'clock till 1 o'clock Pacific time. We've got a phenomenal keynote speaker, Daphne Mickelson, Janae. She's a representative now in the state legislature in Colorado. I've known her for a long time. When she was 14, Jeff, she said to herself, I'm not going to complain. She heard her friends complaining. I am not going to complain about anything unless I'm willing to change it. And she's changed a lot of things. And then we have some panelists. And then we've got a couple games, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So if you want the registration, please email me and I'll give it to you. There's no charge for it. It's just we really are taking a look. And then we're going to begin forming a community of women who are bold. So there. Thanks for asking.
That's pretty awesome. And women definitely deserve that platform, that opportunity to grow. And I thank you for that too, because that is amazing. But I also want to show you that Jessica said in the comments that the blessing in making a bad choice is that you have another opportunity to choose again. Now, while I agree with that statement, I also want to say that life is short. You gotta be careful when you're making those bad decisions, not to waste a decision on something bad, because you only get one chance.
Yeah.
Now, I also want to show you that Jessica said, sending you so much love, and then I also want to show you that Lady Rochelle Dotson Matheny said that, oh wow, when you were talking about the loss of your child. Now, she's a breast cancer survivor, so she's a pretty powerful woman too. So I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching. And Jessica also added, thank you for a wonderful conversation, Jeff and Ann.
Thank you.
All right. Well, everybody, you have a great night out there. And I need to remind you that you have to do me a favor this week, next week, and for the rest of your life. You have to make every second count. Why? Because you never know when the seconds are going to run out on your one life. Hey guys, I'll see you back here next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time.
Thank you, Jeff. This was wonderful. Thank you.
Yes. You can actually stay here because I think we're off the air. Well, it hasn't told us we're off the air yet, but I hit the end broadcast.
Well, this was very inspirational. You inspire me so much ever since I first heard you on Jake's things. So you're here every Tuesday just on Facebook. That's all I have to do is go to your Facebook page.
Yeah, it's on Facebook, but it's also on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Because I'll look for you then.
All right. Cool. If you want to go to my page on YouTube, it is www.youtube.com/C/Jeff Marconette Jr.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's me.
I think I've done that. I think I already did that way back when you first mentioned it. I went there. I think. Did I subscribe? If I haven't, so I definitely will if I haven't. And also, I'm hoping that I'm